Kelly Ripa became a staple in daytime television in 2001. As Kathy Lee Gifford's replacement on Live with Regis and Kathy, viewers instantly fell in love with Ripa's bubbly personality and banter with her co-host Regis Philbin. Though the relationship between the Live with Regis and Kelly stars was complicated behind the scenes, Philbin and Ripa successfully anchored the show together until they retired in 2011. From then on, Ripa had a slew of co-hosts from NFL star Michael Strahan to American Idol host Ryan Seacrest. When Seacrest announced his departure from the daytime show in February 2023, many longtime viewers wondered who would be the next star to take over the co-host seat next to Ripa. In April 2023, Ripa's longtime husband, Mark Consuelos, was officially announced as her new co-host. Considering that Consuelos had guest hosted in the past and the two bounced off each other well, many figured this was an obvious choice. However, Live with Kelly and Mark has had a few bumps in the road since its premiere. In February 2024, Good Housekeeping reported that fans were outraged when the show was forced to air pre-recorded episodes due to scheduling. Some episodes have even featured awkward and tense moments between the two. Here are some of Ripa's angriest live moments with her real-life husband turned work husband. Kelly Ripa accused Mark Consuelos of making her the villain. Kelly Ripa has never been shy about speaking her mind. When her relationship with former co-host Michael Strahan soared, Ripa returned to the show to give a passionate speech about respect in the workplace. Mark Consuelos doesn't seem to mind his wife's outspoken personality. However, when Ripa recounted to the audience a showdown she had with a neighbor, he seemed to cringe. During the COVID-19 lockdowns, Ripa told the audience about one neighbor she wasn't too pleased with. There were students staying on certain floors of the building, Ripa explained, via Daily Mail. And then this one floor, they rented out to someone who allegedly was staying there as a student or whatever. But they were throwing illegal raves, like discos. Ripa went on to explain that one party was so loud that she called the police and 311 to inform them of her noise complaints and ask for some assistance. With both departments failing to intervene and Consuelos away filming a project, she was forced to take matters into her own hands. Ripa explained how she marched over to her neighbors wearing a bathrobe and demanded they lower the music of their illegal party. "You became that person," Consuelos sarcastically told her. Ripa seemed upset at her husband defending the rowdy neighbors and insisted that they were the ones in the wrong. "I like that, suddenly I'm the villain in the story," she shot back. She awkwardly called out staff for arguing during a live segment. During live television, anything is bound to happen. When things go wrong, most television's hosts are pros at keeping the show moving along without calling attention to it. However, during one awkward moment on Live with Kelly and Mark, Kelly Ripa angrily called out staff during the opening segment. According to Closer Weekly, producers Michael Gelman and Scott Eason were arguing off-camera when Ripa shockingly interjected and put them both on the spot. "Well, I don't know, you seem like you two are having a discussion," Ripa told them. "Here's the thing, neither one of you are invisible, and when our parents start arguing with each other over us, we are fully aware that it is happening. So, is there something you want to say to each other?" Though the moment was somewhat tense, the reasoning behind the argument was comedic. As it turns out, executive producer Gelman wanted a bowl of pistachios placed on the host's table. When Eason refused while on air, the back and forth began. For some reason, Scott was afraid to put them on the table, Gelman told her. "Do you guys want to work it out?" Ripa responded. The crew brushed past this awkward on-air moment, and Ripa even joked about the drama. "This is a show I would watch, honestly. Tomorrow we should stand here and you guys sit here," she told them. Kelly accused Mark of gaslighting the audience. What started off as a conversation about a hypothetical family vacation soon turned into a loud argument between Kelly Ripa and husband Mark Consuelos on an episode of Live with Kelly and Mark. When Consuelos questioned if she would be able to drive an RV on a trip, Ripa pointedly reminded him of her family background. "My dad, let me remind you, was a bus driver for New Jersey Transit for 30 years, so I believe." She began telling Consuelos before he cut her off. He quickly argued that their father's jobs were irrelevant to their own skill set. Ripa didn't back down, and chaos ensued with the two shouting over each other like an old married couple. "You're not the best driver, sweetie," Consuelos told her, riling her up. "You do a lot of things well, but you also don't drive well." Ripa shot back by asking him who had the most driving violations. The actor explained that his higher rate was simply due to him driving the most. When Consuelos tried arguing that Ripa had more accidents, she accused him of ripping off half their garage door. As the audience roared with laughter, Ripa threw more accusations her husband's way. "Before you applaud him, I want you to know that he's completely lying in front of you," she told them via the U.S. Sun. Consuelos silently shook his head as Ripa threw the final dagger, adding, "We're all being gaslit." Leading up to Thanksgiving, Live with Kelly and Mark was filled with holiday topics and cute decor, but even with the festive spirit, Kelly Ripa found herself in hot water. In one episode, Ripa shared an article about Thanksgiving dishes and asked if the name stuffing or dressing was used in their household. The seemingly innocent question caused a firestorm online, and the host was forced to defend herself the following episode. "Yesterday, I simply read an article that I didn't write," Ripa said via the Entertainment Weekly. "So, don't shoot the messenger." But the messenger was attacked viciously. The talk show host called out the trolls who took this non-issue so seriously. "I mean, forget any political discourse," she said, blinking in disbelief. "The real discourse are the people arguing about stuffing and dressing." She proceeded to read out the article again, which explained that the terms used depend on the region that an individual is from. "But you at home informed me that I, Kelly Ripa, am wrong again," Ripa said. She then read out messages she received from viewers, noting that she only selected the sanitized ones. "Basically, I'm going to say something. Get a life, honestly," Ripa said sharply. "Just get one. Calm down. If you're worried about this, then congratulations, you don't have actual problems." Later in the episode, with the backlash still fresh on her mind, Ripa asked guest Scarlett Johansson for her take on the debate. When your co-host is your longtime husband, approaching discussions about marriage can sometimes get tricky. On one episode of Live with Kelly and Mark Consuelos read out an article to Kelly Ripa that included suggested phrases couples can use during an argument to disagree with their partner respectfully. Otherwise known as, "Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?" Consuelos joked via the U.S. Sun. One suggested diplomatic phrase was, "I understand your viewpoint, but I see it another way." Despite the diplomatic language, Ripa's face showed displeasure as her husband read them out to the audience. "You're getting mad already," he told Ripa with a laugh. "I'm not gonna lie. This irritates me," she told the audience. Ripa folded her arms and glared at her husband as he continued to read out phrases that even he admitted were dicey to use. When Consuelos read out the last phrase, an exasperated Ripa mocked how condescending she found it to be. "That's the non-apology. That's a non-hearing my opinion," she argued via Decider. "Your leg is going nuts under the table right now. You're like a little chihuahua," Consuelos said, noting her increasingly angry demeanor. Though this article Consuelos shared with the audience hit a nerve, Ripa herself once caused an awkward moment with an article. During one episode, the couple talked about how one news article about a gray divorce gave Ripa a silly reason to contemplate ending their marriage later in life. On Live with Kelly and Mark, Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos frequently share anecdotes about their 3 children. Now adults, Consuelos and Ripa's kids live really lavish lives, but their parents are always sharing funny flashback stories from their childhood. Even though the hosts seem to have managed parenthood with humor, pregnancy was not a laughing matter to Ripa. During one episode, the proud mom revealed why she butted heads with her husband during her pregnancy with their son Michael. "You want to know something really irritating? When I was pregnant, Mark decided he was going to join a gym and hire a trainer," Ripa told the audience via People, "and the more pregnant I got, the fitter he got." Ripa explained the phenomenon of some sympathetic husbands gaining weight with their wives during pregnancy, but noted that hers did the opposite. "He turned into Hercules," she said, noting his physique. Consuelos admitted that he didn't gain any weight during the pregnancy, thanks to his wife. "Because you did it for both of us, baby. You gained the weight for both of us," Consuelos joked. Ripa revealed that she gained 68 pounds during pregnancy and recalled one news site poking fun at her with a headline that said it looked like she was carrying 7 babies. Consuelos tried to make his wife feel better, in between gym sessions, of course. "Yeah, gotta stay fit in case something happens," Consuelos joked. On Live with Kelly and Mark, Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos often interact with their live studio audience. The talk show hosts frequently call out audience members to banter with and even ask for their opinions on topics discussed during their opening segment. However, during one episode, The couple seemed over it when an audience member randomly interjected during the segment. The moment began with Ripa noticing two older women sitting in the audience together who were twins and celebrating their birthday. "There's twins dressed in matching sequins," she said with a smile before the camera panned to them via the U.S. Sun. "I just want to go party with you." As the camera panned away from the twin ladies, an audience member off camera shouted to get their attention. The random fan could be heard shouting, "We have a birthday over here." It got Ripa and Consuelo's attention, but they both looked very unamused. "We'd understand it's her birthday, but she's not an adult twin," Ripa told them with her hands held up. "You should have taken your adult twin with you." The talk show host did end up wishing the fan a happy birthday before swiftly moving on with the segment. Being called out by the hosts might have been awkward for the fan, but it's nothing compared to the slew of awkward moments Ripa has had on camera. Having a daytime talk show shot live in New York City has its pros and cons. For Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos, the live taping means their audience is always filled with a nice mix of tourists and longtime fans, and they have an incredible backdrop of the Big Apple. However, the city that never sleeps also has unpredictable weather, especially during the winter season. During one Live with Kelly and Mark episode, Consuelos shared that a snowstorm would hit the city the following day, resulting in 1 to 2 inches of snow. "Do we get a day off from work?" he excitingly asked producers off camera via the U.S. Sun. "No, are you kidding?" an annoyed Ripa interjected. "Let me tell you what happens here. I'm going to walk you through because apparently we haven't been married all these years that I've been doing this show." Ripa went on to inform her husband that the usual protocol would be to trek through the snow from Central Park. According to her, once they arrived at the studio, they'd be greeted by disgruntled producers and an empty audience. During bad weather, their typical live audience is not there, so staffers in the building are forced to fill in. Ripa's annoyance with her husband might have stemmed from him never realizing she's come into work during snow days for almost 2 decades of hosting the show. Since Mark Consuelos was named a permanent co-host of Live with Kelly and Mark, fans have embraced him with open arms. The star was even named People's Sexiest TV Host in 2024, beating out Jimmy Fallon. Besides the typical fan mail, Consuelos has received care packages from longtime fans of the show. During one episode, the Daytime Emmy winner opened up a package from a fan to find items he once loved as a child. The thoughtful package even included a pipe, a nod to a clay pipe he playfully used as a child to smoke from. During his childlike excitement over the pipe, Consuelos told his wife, "I could point at you with it, to do things via the U.S. Sun." Ripa jokingly asked him what he wanted her to do. "I don't know, change the channel." He replied, imitating a grumpy old man. Ripa wasn't feeling the order or the pipe being pointed her way. "I'm just gonna say, if you point at me with that pipe, I'm going to point at you with a machete," she sassily replied. Consuelos brushed off her awkward machete threat and brought the focus back to his pipe. "I think I'm gonna get into this," he said. "I'll get you some leaves out of the backyard," Ripa joked. This wasn't the first or last time the couple's interactions raised some eyebrows over the years. Consuelos and Ripa have shared inappropriate confessions that they should have kept to themselves. Read more. https://www.phyllis.com/1777272/Kelly-Ripa-Angriest-moments/ On one episode of Live with Kelly and Mark, Kelly Ripa was stunned into silence when husband Mark Consuelos called out a habit of hers that he finds irritating. Consuelos brought up a time when his longtime wife and her friends spent half an hour sending lengthy voice memos back and forth. Consuelos put his wife on the spot and asked her why she didn't just bother phoning her friend if they had that much to say to each other. "Oh, is there something irritating about a conversation on speakerphone that bothers you suddenly?" she asked him. Ripa explained that her friend was driving and using the car to send voice memos. "'Cause that's easier than just calling," Consuelos shot back, teasing her. As the audience roared with laughter, Ripa gave her husband a deadpan look. She later called out her husband's hypocrisy at being upset by her voice memos while frequently speaking to his Italian soccer team on speakerphone. "I wasn't upset, I just find it peculiar," Consuelos replied via Decider. Like when husbands find something peculiar, it doesn't mean that they're upset. They just find you guys peculiar. 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 Consuelos went on to explain how comfortable he is being silent, which Ripa took as a sign to give him the silent treatment. Like the song says, Enjoy the silence, Ripa sassed him. She wasn't kidding. The host remained silent during the next segment before finally unmuting herself to tell a joke.